Namaste, beloveds. This is Mother with Wisdom, Ocean 9, Valerie Ames. And I'm coming to you again doing this video. Excuse my puffy eyes. um, but I have something very um, important that I want to share. And it it's something I just woke up with this morning and um, knew that I had to make a video for. And so knew that I had to communicate in some form or fashion, and I decided to go with a video. Um, there is a aspect of me known to me as Spirit of White Wolf, and she is my Native American spirit guide. Has been for over some 20 something years um, when she first showed herself to me. And it was after reading Women Who Run with Wolves that she showed herself to me and made herself known to me as I was speaking on the phone with a Native American man. And as I was speaking with him, his room opened up and became visible to me. And I described to him everything that I saw in the room, and he confirmed that it was so. And then I told him about the wolf that came through the curtain. And he said he did not see her, but he spoke to me of what she meant. And from that point on, she has always come when there are great changes to the human family that need to take place. And so it is from this aspect of myself that I will be communicating um, today with this particular message. Um, this is what she says. Existence is not a commodity. Existence is a direct result of wisdom. Human beings exist from their own egoic mind place, and from that place, thoughts and feelings rule their existence. It defines their existence, it manifests their existence, it allots them a role to play, and they are the slaves to that existence, that commodity, that which they feel is given to them, but they are not it. You are existence. We are existence. Existence is not something we do. It's not something we receive. It is what we are. Everything that exists, seen and unseen, known and unknown, is what we are. This is the greatest gift. This is unconditional love. That you are the present. and you get to present yourself in the presence of time and space as you conceive it. And to continue to allow yourself to play small, or as if you are an afterthought or a byproduct or a mistake. That is your sin. That means you don't know yourself. And if you don't know yourself, you will be incapable of expanding upon your gift, which is unlimited and eternal. And you passed that on to the next generation. That you are limited, that you should expect less, that you are privileged to exist in this limited state of being. If you are aware of who you are at any given moment in your conscious awareness, then you create the next moment. That makes you a creator of existence. That means there should be no lack. There should be only abundance. There should be only a desire for change each and every day to be better than it was yesterday, to be more emptier so that you can receive more of yourself, so that you can explore more of yourself, deeper into yourself, deeper into your heart, which is your throne of your kingdom. It is when you are situated in your heart and you are still and you are aligned and in tune with the universe and you are conscious of everything that is, was, and will be. And in that awareness, you speak, you act, you love, you give, you receive. Inside of all that it offers, these are the fruits of the Spirit. They are abundant, and their seeds are able to multiply more than we know. And for not just a certain select group of individuals throughout the earth, but for all. All are one, all are of the universe. No matter what constellation or planet or sun they choose to represent them or they call home. There's one universe, there's one wisdom that gave birth to conscious awareness as existence in its unlimited forms, in its unlimited ways of being, from the spectrums of light to dark, from the heights of up to lowest, highest to lowest, from horizontal to vertical. These are ways of existence. They are your ways of existing. It is a choice. Existence is not a commodity that is handed out to some. You may exist this way, you may exist that way, you may exist this. No. Existence is one and it is dependent upon all. The earth depends upon the animals. The earth depends upon the human beings. That is what breath is. Oxygen and carbon exchanged in order to feed existence. It is not a commodity to be sold and auctioned off. And you get to exist this way and you get to exist that way. And existence is one. There are many ways to exist. The wisest way to exist is with conscious awareness that is able to expand, that is able to express itself with unconditional love, that is not restricted or regulated, that looks not only into its own interests, but the interests of all because it knows it is the all, from the least to the greatest, from the seen to the unseen. There is no separation, there is no division. And to cause so, to live in that realm of the ego's imagination where there is separation is to cause disease, disease, and death. It is cancerous to the cells of harmony, of existence. It breeds strife. It breeds disease. It breeds despair. It breeds and gives ground to the most fertile of suffering for the planet and for those that are on the planet, the animals and the humans. Family is a universal concept. It is the wisest of the feminine principles of wisdom. Wisdom wanted to know herself. She gave birth to herself as existence. in everything she is. And even in our mythologies of the gods, they had to bow to her, because without her, they would not exist. And she would have her way. And to not honor wisdom in the form of existence is to deny everything, is to deny her, is to reject her unconditional love. That is a choice, but that is the greatest blasphemy. That is the greatest and the gravest of circumstances that you can cause upon yourself as a being, as a species, as an individual and as a collective, because you will form these cliques and these different things until you know that there is no separation. All is a spectrum, all are frequencies, all are energy. We can label them, we can name them, we can say white, red, white, and blue, and this one does that, and that one does this, and blah, 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 but all are one. Bottom line, existence is not a commodity. It is a blessing. It is a gift. A gift meant to explore. A gift meant to be passed down to the next generations. So that existence can continue to expand in a harmonious way. Existence will exist regardless of the spectrum, regardless of from high to low. We have existed in very low frequencies. We commit war against each other. We rape, we pillage, we murder, we steal, we lie, we cheat. We regulate ways of existence. We label them good or bad, good or evil. What changes? Everything has a season. Everything has an age. Everything has a cycle. Everything changes. We have existed at the lowest frequency of humanity for a very long time. What have we learned? How has death served us? How has suffering served us? How has lack and scarcity How has it served us? What have we learned? How do we go forward? How do we make changes? How do we instruct the next generations to come? How do we fortify them? How do we endow them with the wisdom, connect them to wisdom so that they know what existence is, that they are existence, that existence resides within them, and all the powers of existence to be is within. And your conscious awareness of that energy, of that divine energy, of that wisdom manifests the world that you reside in, that you inhabit. And we don't need to suffer anymore. The earth does not need to suffer anymore. The flora and the fauna don't need to suffer anymore. Enough. Stop looking for something outside of you. Look within. Know from the deepest essence of yourself, from the tiniest cell of yourself to the blue mist in between your cells, that existence incarnated into your birth, into your being. And you are not separate from it. It is only a conscious awareness of yourself at a much deeper, higher, more spiritual, more wise level. In every action, there is a reaction. That action should be based upon wisdom. That reaction should be based upon wisdom. Conscious reflection, conscious awareness, conscious knowing equals conscious being and conscious doing. To do so consciously is to align yourself with unconditional love. It is to dive fully within and immerse yourself with that spiritual liquid waters. And you baptize everything you do with it. You anoint everything you do, you say, and you are with that unconditional love that is wisdom. That is the Holy Spirit. That is peace. That is grace. That is charity. That is patience. That is abundance. That is a blessing. We look to many things for the way to be, for the way to exist. We look at the trees. We understand the roots ground you while you reach up high to the sky. We understand the animals and their diversity. Their existence teaches us, gives us wisdom of each one. Winged, hoofed, those with scales, those with no scales, skins. We breathe. That is wisdom. We are one inside that wisdom of breath, because breath is life. Life is existence. We do more than conceive and multiply. We nourish. With unconditional love. We cherish our existence through the way that we exist, through the way that we are, through the way that we be, through the way that we do, through the way that we see. We forgive ourselves when we, with our little head or our little minds, trespass against our own greatness by seeking that which is lower or less than, by accepting that which is less than, by doling out that which is less than. We are ignorant of the way of existence, but we are masters in the ways of survival. Our whole existence has been turned into survival. And that survival has brought with it its polar opposite, its shadow, which is death. You cannot have one without the other. You cannot serve one without serving the other. Wisdom gave birth to existence. What does existence need to survive if wisdom gave birth to it? The ancients told us to know ourselves. Know thyself. Thyself. Three little words. Know thyself. What do you know yourself as? How do you know yourself? When do you know yourself? Where do you know yourself? Why do you know yourself? As existence, or as the name that you were given when you were born. that identity that had a beginning and will have an end? Is that who you are? Is that who you exist as? What is your existence? What is it all about? What is it for? What is the wisdom? How do you serve wisdom? As her existence. In the vastness of things, of existence, from the lowest to the highest frequencies. Do you matter? Do you matter to wisdom? Was she wise when she created you? Or were you a mistake? Wisdom does not make mistakes. Know yourself and understand your ability to give birth to change, to create change, to manifest change, to react and to respond from a state of conscious awareness of your own existence. Let that guide you. Let that be your sun that you revolve around. Let that be your way in which you speak, in which you act, in which you are. Be vigilant of your state of mind, because that is your heart. From your heart, your desires flow. From your heart, things are born from existence. They come into existence from your heart space, from your desires. You manifest, you create, you bring about circumstances and situations. Take responsibility for your thoughts. When they go astray, bring them back. When they drop to the lowest, raise them up. When they say, this is the highest, I can't go anymore, remind them, you are unlimited. There is no ceiling. We are vast beyond knowledge, beyond our current knowledge. But we have the capacity to entertain the vastness of existence as unconditional love. Unconditional love with no limits. No, well, I can only give this much and then I'll run out. Or if I give this, I'll only have a little left. Existence is not a commodity, beloveds. It is not something to be bought and sold. It is not something to be negotiated upon or with or as a bargaining tool. To use its energy in such a manner is to create suffering and division, and to bring upon you, as universal laws demand, what you sow, you will reap. You are governed by universal laws. To not know them and to not bow to those laws puts you in harm's way. And it is by those laws that existence itself works, flows, expands, contracts, exists, functions, relies upon. Well, that's going to do it, beloveds. That's the heart of what I wanted to say um, for these times. Getting ready to go into 2021. You have made it through the storm of storms. And now it's up to you how you choose to exist. Everything in existence has already been given. It exists for you. It exists as you. When you reject existence in all her abundance, in all her wealth, in all her wisdom, you reject yourself and you suffer. And you cause others to suffer because you are one. The planet suffers, the animals suffer, humanity suffers, the oxygen suffers. There is no division, there is no separation, there is no duality. All is one. You can't have one without the other. That is the wisdom of existence. Be mindful of the way you choose to exist. It is a choice. Don't rely upon only yourself. There is grace. There is the Holy Spirit. There are the divine virtues that you may exercise within your existence to give birth to the wisdom with which they are seated. The corona, the crown, the King of Kings exists within your heart. Only you can wear it. It is your kingdom that comes into existence through your manifestations, through your being, through your interactions, through your exchanges, through your acknowledgement, through your servitude and service to wisdom, for which you are an expression in the scheme of things in existence. Know what is real and what is unreal, and know that you cannot have one without the other. But it is where your conscious awareness is that things arise from. What you give your attention to is what will materialize, what will surface, what will come into existence in a real way. Focus your attention on conscious awareness, upon unconditional love, upon service to wisdom. What is the wisest way? Allow the spirit of wisdom to animate your thoughts, to encourage your next step. Know that that is what makes your heart beat. And know that each heartbeat exists as one, no matter the rhythm, no matter the irregularity of the rhythm. This is existence. And you are part of it, not separate from it. And nothing and no one can ever separate you from existence, no matter what situation or circumstance you find yourself in. Take courage in your existence. And that leads me to where I want to go with Stuart Wilde. Um, Infinite Self, 33 Steps to Reclaiming Your Inner Power. And this is step 3. Have the courage to go beyond. Step 3. Having the courage to go beyond is the act of letting go and allowing your life to enter into the spontaneous dynamic of free flow. That means less structure, more trust, believing and taking life as you find it, rather than trying to force it into a preconceived pattern and getting angry when it won't allow you to jam it into a corner in that way. The ego is naturally resistant to letting go. It wants to hold on to its sense of power and to dominate your life and the lives of others. It needs to control because it feels insecure. So it may be frightening to let go, but in my view, it is more frightening to stay where you are. Staying where you are, beloveds, is staying in that limited reality of your existence, is limiting the wisdom of existence and saying that it can only go this far, or it can only be this big, or this wide, or it is only a portion to this particular being or that particular species, or this particular skin color or that particular size, or you have to look like this, or you have to have this, and if you don't have that latest thing, then you're less than, and all of that is the vanity of ego. And the vanity of ego is simply the uncertainty of itself, because the ego does not know that it is existence. But you have to become consciously aware that your ego dwells in duality. It refuses to submit and serve existence. It needs to exist on its own. And only you can parent it and shape it and nourish it and reassure it. No, baby, you are existence. You are not this identity. You are not this needy thing. You do not need all of this outside stuff to be, to exist. You already exist. You exist as the infinite, as the wisest, as the eternal. You can never not exist in this way. Stop lying to yourself. Unlearn that way. That way hurts. In the world of the ego and intellect, you don't have to develop blind trust. You can hope to rely on past experience and thinking things out, and hopefully that works for you most of the time. But as a spiritual being, trust is vital. Let me repeat that. As a spiritual being, trust is vital. Trust is the one thing that the ego has taught us not to do. It calls us a fool if we trust this or if we trust that because we've been hurt so many times. But existence says no, you're only expanding your conscious awareness. Keep trusting. Trust existence. Don't trust your ego. Don't trust your own mind. Don't trust your own limited patterns, but trust existence. In the dynamic, exhilarating world of the infinite self, you're flying blind. It has no limits, so it's bound to carry you to unfamiliar ground. And that is what makes this whole process so fascinating. Beloveds, this is saying existence is going to give birth to situations that are unfamiliar to you, that you have no reference point for, that you have no memory of, even sometimes. But you have to step out on trust. This is your infinite self that is leading and guiding you. Trust it because it exists. It is the wisest of existence. Allow it into your conscious awareness. The journey from ego to spirit entails resolving the paradoxes of this human existence. I can best explain it by quoting from a little book I wrote in 1994 called Weight Loss for the Mind. We have to embrace infinity inside a mortal body. We have to believe in a God we can't see. We have to learn to love in a dimension where there is so much hatred. We have to see abundance when people constantly talk of shortages and lack. We have to discover freedom where control is the state religion. We have to develop self-worth where people criticize and belittle us. We have to see beauty where there is ugliness. We have to embrace kindness and positive attitudes when surrounded by uncertainty. We have to feel safe in spite of our concern. And beloveds, this is the obstacle course. This is the challenge. This is the physical education. This is the PE. This is the exercise of existence. And I'm going to read them again. 1, we have to embrace infinity inside a mortal body. Let that resonate with you. We have to embrace infinity inside a mortal body. What does that mean? With conscious awareness, meditate upon each of these and see and sow seeds that you will be able to later reap the wisdom of. 2, we have to believe in a God we cannot see. 3, we have to learn to love in a dimension where there is so much hatred. 4, we have to see abundance when people constantly talk of shortages and lack. 5, we have to discover freedom where control is the state of religion. Listen to the words in that. We have to discover freedom where control is the state religion. So the state of mind, the religion of the mind is control. And if you want your freedom, then you must free yourself from that control. Because that has become your religion of existence. 6, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, 6. We have to develop self-worth while people criticize and belittle us. Very powerful. Very powerful. Because the ego wants the drama and trauma to retain its identity and its war with duality. But in order to break free of that war, you have to develop a self-worth. I am existence. I do not need to go to war to prove who I am, to validate who I am, to exist as I am. I am that I am. That is my self-worth. That is my value. That is my sum total. That is my face. That is my feature. That is my future. 7, we have to see beauty where there is ugliness. In looking at this world, we have to remember we created this. But even in all of this is the wisdom of existence to rise above. How beautiful is that? How beautiful is unconditional love in this world where we see so little love, exchanged, acknowledged, given, and received. We have to embrace kindness and positive attitudes when surrounded by uncertainty. That requires courage. That requires great strength. That requires you to be that lighthouse in the storm, solid amidst the winds blowing, the waves blasting, the tsunamis, the lightning strikes, the thunder roaring. You shine your light. I exist as existence amidst all this. It has no influence upon me. It has no influence upon my existence as a light to shine, as a way I am existence. I show you the way by being, by existing as existence with a conscious awareness of I am that. 8. We have to embrace kindness. Oh, that was 8. 9. We have to feel safe in spite of our concerns. That is one of the biggest ones. We have to feel safe in spite of our concerns. As a child, the Bible helped me with that. Feeling safe despite my concerns. Trusting what you cannot see. Trusting what has always been, regardless of the circumstances or situations that arise, because you cannot control them. Those circumstances and situations, they will happen. They will happen to test you, to test who you are as existence, to test your knowledge of yourself as existence, to strengthen and give you courage to build a foundation on as existence. I overcame that. That happened to me and still I exist. That did not diminish my existence. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it wounded me. Yes, it knocked the hell out of me and I blacked out and I passed out. But when I came back to, through my depression, through whatever situation, I exist. And I will continue to exist. Long past this space and time, long past this situation and this circumstance will I be, because I am that. I am existence. We have to feel safe. Do you know how many feel unsafe? And safety is not a matter of feminine or masculine. It's not a sense of wealth or status or class. Feeling safe is about your conscious awareness, your state of mind. You're being centered, you're being grounded, you're being rooted in the knowledge of existence and the universal laws that govern existence. The crux of the matter boils down to trust. You have to have the courage to embrace an idea, accept it, and believe it before you have any real proof that the energy is there for you or that the idea will work. You have to let go of that bad intellectual habit that says your ego personality always knows best. By giving the infinite by giving the infinity within you credence, you empower it to come into your life. It is almost as if you have to lose yourself a little in order to find yourself again at a higher level of energy. Beloveds, that is so true. The reason you have swells or waves of feelings and emotions, of depression and of happiness and bliss and glee and giddiness and sorrow, is for you to know the spectrum, is for you to know that you can ride through them, is to know that one is not lasting, or you don't just have one and not have the other. All are present, but you're just in the flow of one particular or cluster. But you can change that with your conscious awareness of existence. You can level it out. You can balance it. You can bring it back into harmonic alignment. It is energy. It is conscious awareness. Wisdom allows you to manipulate it. Just as you conceptualize it, you manifest it. If you won't let go and trust a little, your ego personality will constantly block off your inner power, and you miss the benefit of the subtle awareness and extrasensory perception that you're entitled to as a spiritual being. Beloveds, hear that. Hear that. Know that wisdom gave you such abilities, such gifts. We call them six senses because they are beyond the five physical senses. If there's six, there's seven, there's eight, there's nine, there's 10, there's unlimited. But you have to know yourself and you have to keep yourself aligned so that you can access those frequencies, those higher frequencies. And in order to do that, you have to, as this says, pay more attention to your extra sensory perception because it's very subtle. It's very subtle. It's like the shadow out of the corner of your eye. It's like when you see the light coming through and you see all the little dust particles. They're always there, but you only see them when the light hits them a certain way. They're subtle, but they're there. They don't stop being there just because you stop seeing them or the light is reflecting another way. Be aware of existence as a whole. We become used to overriding those inner messages, don't we? It's part of how the ego plays its games. The infinity within you is like a celestial wind. It will blow gently in your direction and assist you, but only when you quiet the mind and control the ego. People ask me, is it intuition? Yes and no. It's more than intuition. Spontaneous intuition is how it manifests in its early stages. Later, the dialogue from the infinite self comes through as all knowing, instant information derived from heightened feelings. It grows as you focus and discipline yourself, and when you know and believe that you are infinite, So, beloved, in order to access this infinite energy, this infinite synergy, this infinite um, wisdom, you have to be dwelling within there. You have to be aligned with it in order to bring it about, in order to conceive from it. You have to unite with it. You have to make love with it. And through you, it will give birth to higher things. It comes through you. It is seeded through you. Once you can see the TikTok world for what it is, the power of the infinite self joins you. It teaches you hour by hour, day by day, constantly, showing you the subtle nature of things in a truly magnificent way. It brings you the people you need to be associated with. It shows you how to modify your belief patterns and which of those beliefs you need to sling off the cart forever. It assists your well being and shows you ways of making a living that are less onerous and restrictive. The depth of its perception carries you from one stepping stone to the next. So, beloveds, as you see from just that paragraph alone, we have to modify our belief patterns and we have to trust in those modifications that we make. And we have to make the modifications with conscious awareness of what is wise, what serves wisdom, what serves all, not just in what serves the narcissistic ego, but what serves that heartbeat, that universal heartbeat. What will keep it strong? What will keep it steady? It's a shame if you don't listen. While the ego dominates and holds on, the spirituality within you backs off and waits until you are done, and with the mundane logic of life. So agreeing to listen is important. Acting on what you hear is even more important. Very important, beloveds. That is the self mastery aspect of what do you allow to dominate your existence? Is it just your thoughts? Because your thoughts are egoic. Are you consciously aware of your thoughts and desires? Are they being brought into harmony with universal laws, with wisdom, with the fruitage of the Spirit, in the essence of serving and service to all? It doesn't matter if at first you get things a bit mixed up, if you're not sure what comes from the infinite self and what is from the mind. You have to start somewhere. That is the all important first step. That is the contrast that wisdom allows in order for you to know the dimensions, the spectrums, the realities of diversity, of division, of multiplication, of addition, and of subtraction. This is how you learn to walk, how you learn balance. This is what you did as a toddler, toddling. You had to get it right. You had to stand. You had to feel safe standing. That's why you bounced to get that feeling. And then you fell, and then you got back up, and then you crawled, and then you walked, and then you ran. If you didn't listen and open up The world you create via your personality and its preferences, and the perception you have of that world around you starts to dwindle in energy. Let me say that again, beloveds. If you don't listen and open up, if you don't listen and open up to existence, if you don't open your conscious awareness to existence, not your identity, to existence, the world you create via your personality, via yourself, your preferences, your ego, and the perception, what you believe is true, what you trust. These things have the world around you. The energy starts to dwindle. You use up the power available to you. The energy of the place where you live, your circumstances, your work, and the relationships you sustain all begin to drop to a lower level because no new energy flows in to sustain them. And, beloveds, this is the best explanation of the Aquarian age and what it is here to serve and what it will do and how existence will benefit from it. It is being replenished. This is the time of replenishment. This is the time to be more consciously aware of yourself as existence than ever before. That is what this age is allowing. Trust in it. Look at how long it's taken to get here. How many different ages and stages that humanity has had to go through in order to get here. We have been learning our balance. We have been experiencing the dualities. We have been giving birth to lack and suffering. Now it's time to give birth to abundance and prosperity of spirit and conscious awareness as existence. Gradually, you become less and less secure, entering into stagnant dead zone, which is in effect the external manifestation of a tired and lifeless mind. Every day there is less energy than before, less excitement, more boredom and irritation. Often this diminishing effect will be suffocating. You'll feel trapped. Life becomes a flat line. That is depression. That is depression from your addictive behaviors or addictive negative thinking. Your um your refusal of wisdom's love, your refusal of the fruitage of the Spirit, your indulgence in the works of the flesh. The stagnation danger increases. Your safety and protection are weakened by the staleness that surrounds you. Imagine the dead zone as a circular, flat piece of paper. The dead zone, that void, that dimension of despair, that void, that womb where you curl up in the fetal position and you don't want to exist because existing hurts. That place, that space. For many, it's suicidal, even. Not wanting to exist, not wanting to be here. not wanting to feel, not wanting to know, because you feel so hopeless. Your mind has you in such a hopeless state of existence. You are at your lowest point in energy and self awareness. Your mind is whooping your ass, and it is winning. It is mastering you, and it is enslaving the wisdom of your existence. It's putting it in a cage. It's making it very small. It's very domineering and very controlling. It's very sadistic. And it is hell bent on keeping you in that place, in that space, in that void. Devoid of wisdom, devoid of light, devoid of unconditional love, devoid of eternal, devoid of infinite hope and peace and love, prosperity, charity, patience. Your ego keeps you cooped up in that place. I've been there. It is hell on earth. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. It is the valley of death. But there are many who walk through it. Many in existence are there to guide you through it. As I started this video, I spoke of the aspect of myself as Spirit of White Wolf. That is who has guided me through many of those black holes, those voids, those abysses, those valleys of death, those traps, those cages that my egoic mind set for me to fall into, so that it could keep me away from the infinite wisdom of my existence, from my self-knowledge. Because when I am there, in that self-knowledge, in that awareness, the ego is no longer master. And I am no longer a slave. Its slave. Nor will I allow it to enslave me ever again, because of my conscious awareness as existence. And even if my mind gets cloudy and I forget, situations and circumstances try to hook me back, or there's bait set in, ooh, glittery, shiny, pretty. Do I want to exist with that? Is that really existence? Is it offering me existence, or is it offering me a cage? What do I have to give in order to get that? What do I have to exist as, lesser than what I am, in a certain state of mind that is smaller than what I am capable of, expanding and exploring in the vastness, will I settle for this less than? Do you know your worth? Is that all you're worth? That thing in the cage that's held there is bait for you. Bait is habit, bait is desire, bait is what your thoughts are drawn to. That does that define or expand upon your existence or your conscious awareness of yourself as existence? Is it that attractive? Is it worth your state of mind? Do the math. Are you adding? Are you subtracting? Are you multiplying or are you dividing? At the bottom of the cone, the intensity of your mind and the lack of energy and support in the circumstances that surround you are so great that you approach a situation of extreme restriction. Life closes in around you, and sadly, you may not have enough energy to climb out. The restriction of a lifeless situation such as this can cause disquiet and may result in dysfunctional or reckless behavior. It can lead eventually to hopelessness and an early death. Hear the words in that, beloveds. Hear the words in that and understand the connection to universal laws that are in those words. You reap what you sow. Understand the law of attraction. Understand the laws of paradox. Understand the laws of magnification and magneticism. Understand the alchemy in all things. Understand the harmony and the balance in all things. Understand the elemental pulls. Understand what the constellations and the signs and the seasons. All of these things are in tow. All of these things exist as tools of wisdom. Agree with yourself in a quiet moment of prayer or contemplation that you do have the courage to be different. You will change and you will fight the ego's lack of energy by embracing a few new ideas. A few new ideas allows you to fight your ego. A few new ideas. A few higher thoughts and frequencies in your conscious awareness allows changes to your existence, to increase, to rise, to expand out of the cage, out of bondage. You break your chains. They can no longer hold you. You're no longer small. You're like Alice in Wonderland, and now you're huge. And those things now are very little, where once they were huge and intimidating and frightening, and now you can step on them and crush them like insects. Because now, in your conscious awareness as existence, you are universal in your abilities, in your size, in your weight, in your wisdom. And they are only as small as their conscious awareness allows them. You may get some flack from people around you because you want to change, but so what? In a stagnant situation, anything is better than staying where you are. Next, have the courage to accept and weather the pain and aggravation that the ego will undoubtedly put you through as you try to disempower its government of your life. Hear that, beloveds. No, the ego is not going to go quietly and say, okay, you win. You get to be the master, okay? No, it's going to throw all kind of monkey wrenches and it knows you better than you know you, okay? So be vigilant. Be aware of your thoughts and your feelings, and be aware of situations that arrive from your conscious or unconscious. Know that you've manifested this in some kind of way and that you have to stand your ground. And you are not there alone. And if this is to be your valley of death, it has another side. You'll be reborn once you go through it. It isn't going to like what's going on. It will protest with logic and emotion and fine sounding arguments, hoping to turn you around. That sounds like QAnon, don't it? The things we latch on to and that we allow to latch on to us in our conscious awareness, in our restriction of ourselves from the vastness. It will protest with logic and emotion. Do you see what's going to come against you? What you're going to be battling? What your conscious awareness is going to have to fight within yourself? Is your emotion and your logic and fine sounding arguments from within yourself and from outside yourself, hoping to turn things around and put you back into submission, that submission hole of the ego, shove you back in your little box or your little cave? Been there, done that. When what happens stiffens your resolve and performs some discipline that the ego won't like, throw yourself in the river at 4 a.m. every morning for a week. That should fix it pronto. Beloveds, that river can be whatever you choose to make it. Whatever you know your ego will be cowed by, will be silenced by. Even if, for some of you, even if it's just picking up a Bible or a book and reading it and listening to what it says and allowing it to take you past your own existence, your egoic limited identity of existence, even if it's a comic book or something that will broaden your perspective on your infinite self. Learn the chakras, get into yoga, start a new diet if that's something you're into, a new exercise, a new beauty ritual, something that gives you a foundation to build upon, to express your unique conscious awareness of and as existence, and fight for it. because your ego does not want you to be free, does not want you to love you, does not want you to even know or recognize you. And it does it with subtlety. Everything does not have to be big and in your face. Some things are so subtle as a friendship, a glass of wine, a conversation, even with yourself, full of doubts, full of old images, full of old behaviors, to pull you back into that identity, that lacks the knowing of itself as existence. Let me keep going before it gets totally dark in here. Thank you, Light. In conclusion to the courage to go beyond, I'd add the courage to be vulnerable. As you change and grow, the ego will feel assailed and threatened. If you have little or no resistance, you'll be fine. If you resist and fight, it will hurt a lot. So be courageous. Allow yourself to become vulnerable. Put aside the macho, dogmatic, insistent psychology that most people suffer from. Enter instead the intense spiritual beauty of moving and flowing without necessarily knowing which way to go or how you'll get there. Believe, believe, believe. And beloveds, that is that chapter. And that goes back to being like a child and having the trust of a child. Remember as a child when I remember myself as a child and the adults in my family and wanting to know everything because my family, a child had its place. And I was told constantly, know your place, stay in the child's place. But I wanted to know, well, where are we going? Well, who is that? Well, what is this? What did they want? Stay in the child's place. Be like a child and just allow and trust situations and circumstances and your existence within them. Explore. And that is where 2021 is taking us. And there's a scripture, a child will lead them. That child, like conscious awareness, let it take the helm. Let it be. Let it be your guiding force. That innocence, that unassuming, that I am becoming, that I am existence in whatever state I present myself. This is me. And I love this about me. And I am consciously aware that I have a place that is safe and secure in this existence because of my heart beating inside of me. Aho, namaste, Spirit of White Wolf, Valerie Ames, Mother with Wisdom, Ocean I love us.